Please be seated.
Welcome home to St. Anne's. We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait
to stand today because I was feeling a little bit like it, but now I'm like, that's a future Meg problem, not a current Meg issue. Okay, so today is known as Later Sunday. In a lot of fancy churches, you'll see everyone rocking the pink vestments. We don't do that here because vestments are very, very expensive, and that's a waste of money. So imagine, if you will, that these are pink. Imagine all of this. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not pink, it's rose. It's rose. Because God cares about, like, the exact Pantone color, right? God's up there with paint chips being like, well, these people love me. These people, like, that's a little blush. So Jesus rose from the dead, so we wear rose, I guess. I don't know. That's sure. Whatever. I don't know. But yeah, these are things that people get really worked up about. But it really comes down to this. That's a Latin word for rejoice, because historically the intro readings, the psalm and stuff like that would be rejoice. It starts with rejoice. And the reason we do that is it's kind of like how we do that in Advent. You know how there's kind of that Sunday that's a little bit of a break? That's what this Sunday is in Lent. It's the fourth Sunday in Lent. In theory, we've been really slogging through Lent, right? Lent is kind of rough. And so we take a Sunday where we rejoice. We take a little bit of a break and rejoice and remember why we do all this. If you watch football at all, which good for you if you do, or if you're ever somewhere where people like really love to tell you that they know about Scripture, they're like, John 3:14, right? You've seen it, right? It's written under their eyeballs. People have it tattooed places. They put signs on bathroom stalls. John 3:14. 3:16. My sorry. No, I do not. I do not watch football, clearly. I am in it for the snacks and seed catalogs. So I'm not looking at what they're doing in football. I'm looking at my seed catalogs. But hey, it's fine. We all have our thing. But it's all about, Jesus comes into the world, Christ comes into the world to save sinners, right? And it's kind of a proof text in it, without getting all the other stuff around it. Because here's the thing. We get so focused on condemnation, what is sin, all the bad things, and we kind of get obsessed with that, right? And Lent, I really kind of push us. Let's do some self-examination. Let's get in the face of what our stuff is. And so sometimes we can get so focused on that we forget the joy part of it. Because really, Jesus is not about condemnation. All of this stuff is not really about what is evil, but we as humans are so focused on fear and angst and worry that we get freaked out, right? We worry about these things. So you know that I love animals, right? One of my dad's jokes was that, oh God, there goes Maggie with more of her strays. Because, that's just me. I collect things that, I just collect things. Usually living things. Because, I can barely keep myself alive. Why wouldn't I collect things that need me to survive? It makes perfect sense. Obviously. Okay, so on Inauguration Day, when George W. Bush was being inaugurated, there was a big snowstorm in Iowa. And my dad and I were huge politic hounds, loved politics. And so we would watch political news all the time. So obviously we were watching the inauguration obviously, when by the window goes a little dog. Little dog goes flying by the window. And so I head out into the back, and the dog has gone under the deck, under my parents' deck. And eventually, sometime later, my dad just out the door, and he's like, Maggie, what are you doing? And I was like, there's a dog under the deck, and I've got to get the dog out. It was the most beautiful husky. And if you think I love my May, let me tell you how I felt about my Georgie girl. She was named Georgie because it was the inauguration, and obviously. She was the most beautiful little husky. But I sat there for a long time, like kneeling in the snow, because stray animals are a lot like humans. We're afraid of everything, right? Because when you've experienced a lot of rough stuff, and introduced me to the human who has not experienced a lot of rough stuff, and I'll tell you as somebody who's not worried about condemnation. But the vast majority of us have suffered a lot of stuff, and we have a lot of fear and anxiety and worry. So I want us to imagine that we are like that. We are like the little cats or the puppies or whatever, or the dogs that are so terrified that something bad is going to happen to them. And we get frustrated, right? Sometimes we get frustrated that they won't come out, or that, sometimes they get mean and they get aggressive. And we're like, why is it attacking me? Because it's afraid. Because it's afraid. And that's us, guys. And sometimes we get so focused on the things that we're afraid of that we can get mean and aggressive. This dog did not have an aggressive bone in her body, unless, of course, you were a steak that my dad was getting ready to grill, and then she was like on that. She was like known for counter cruising. Like, she had a gift. But I think about that when we get so frustrated sometimes with ourselves and what we're afraid of. And I had a student this week who was like, Ms. Rhodes, like, I know I shouldn't be doing these things, okay? Let me tell you, middle schoolers are doing things that you would not believe they're doing, but they are. And I was like, I get it. And then they get really, really mad when they get caught. They get mad. And I'm like, well, they call them carts. Do you know what a cart is? Of course you don't know what a cart is because you're a normal human. I know what a cart is. A cart is a THC pen. You know what THC is? Y'all are like, yeah, I know what THC is. So one of them dropped one and got caught. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have this stuff in school, don't get caught for it. And then they get really, really mad. They get really angry when they get caught. And this student says, I know I'm into stuff that I shouldn't be in, and I don't want to do it. But this kid did get in trouble because they also got mad when they got caught. Do you ever do that? Do you ever get mad? Like when you do something that you know you shouldn't do, but you can't seem to control the fact that you do it anyway, right? Yeah. And then somebody calls you out for it, and then you get really, really mad at them because how dare they, right? Yeah. Believe it or not, Jesus is not here to condemn you. But like those animals, we are so worried and so afraid that we get stuck in our corner. And sometimes when we're stuck in our corner, we lash out. But what if I tell you, you're okay? What if I tell that kid, you're okay? It's okay. Now, please stop doing it. And let's get help so you can stop doing it, because I'm going to tell you the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Thank you, Einstein. The man was smart. So we always think, well, I'm going to do it this time, but then I'll stop. I'm going to eat that donut, but, then I'm going to go on my diet. I'm going to snort a line, but this is the last time I'm going to do it. I mean, I've got to finish the bottle of alcohol because I already have it in the house, but then I'm going to stop. I'm going to fight this fight with my kids, but then I'll stop. I'm going to do all these things, and then I'm going to stop, right? But what if I tell you God's not here to condemn you? That is never the point. God is here to save you. Christ comes to save us. And it's in sacrificial giving that God does that. And sometimes I think that scares us the most. Sometimes I think that absolutely scares us the most, that maybe God's not mad. What if God's not mad at you? Does that change things? Does it make it easier to change things? Does it make it easier to crawl out from the corner under the deck and say, okay, maybe this time it's going to be okay? Because, guys, I realize that horrible things have happened in your lives. I realize horrible things are happening right now. I totally do. But it's time. We can crawl out from the corner, not lash out, and we can go to God. And sometimes going to God means going to other people for help too. And that's okay. Because guess what? If we do, someday we'll be a counter-cruising princess. Ask me about this dog. Oh my God, this dog. She was amazing.
We want you
Don't
to
ask my
know
mom
that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on
They don't
Sundays. Please be sure to
They
hit
don't have a good
subscribe to
opinion.
receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you.